So, what do you think of my veneer? These are the door tops, and as you can see they're book matched, mirror matched, so each one is the opposite of the other. So these are completely new. I've made the whole lot here, and when you veneer a piece of wood you should do it both sides, called balancing, because as the glue dries it shrinks and it warps the panel, and it cups towards you. But that actually helps you on this. As long as your blocks are on and your cuts are in, it should warp in the right places. I'll show you the rest of it now. And what we've got here is, this is my old wood with a walnut veneer applied to the face. And then these are my windscreen pillars, and these are new, completely new, which I've had to make those pieces. This one I had a pattern for, so I've trimmed the ends. This one obviously still needs the ends trimming. And then the bits that go around the back quarter light. A couple of things. This one was actually tapered like that, and I don't think it's been finished before. There must be a reason for that. And this one here looks like Jaguar missed where they're supposed to screw it to, and they burst through the sides. So I'll show you how I did it. There's quite a lot of video here, and I've probably repeated myself. I had to do it over several days because I didn't have enough clamps to do it all in one go. Anyway, here it is. This is my veneer from Ireland, I think. Exciting, isn't it? Ooh. Oh, that's really nice. Got 2 sheets now, 1 metre long. Put it away now though, it's quite windy out here. Good. Let's have a closer look at this. It's not traditional sort of burr pattern, but I got this because it's long enough, I think. I can get these out of. and I can. So I don't have to mirror match it in the middle or anything. So one piece. And I've got 2 sheets of this, two leaves, so I could actually book match the two door tops. And I've probably got enough in case I make a cock up to do it again. Maybe. Maybe not. Anyway, a few things to do before I get there. What I'm going to do is put a chamfer on the ends only, and I should be able to wrap the veneer round to cover that edge, that chamfer. And then when the glue's set, I can run a plane along here and just put a slight chamfer on there, which won't really be seen, but if need be I can colour it in, I can cheat. But I've got to figure out these blocks. And these blocks here I think serve 2 purposes. One is to fix this top rail to. Another one is, I think there's a weather strip that gets fixed to that, which is why we've got this gap here. And there's joins in it to let that flex round. So that's got to be bent a little bit. So I'm thinking I'm going to screw these from the other side, which will give me a better fixing. This I can glue all of these. And what I should, there's obviously a join in them here, I would say. But I can let it just sail over a little bit, but no glue there, so it'll still flex. But I don't know why we've got this step here. Doesn't seem to make sense, because this end sits on the door shell and this end sits on the door shell, and there's no step on that end. But I better put it in because it's on there, and it's on the other one as well. But not so severe. See, there's no sign of a step there, but there is there. So I'm not quite sure what to do about that. And I'm going to make simple moulds to get these to bend how I want them to. This is the upright next to the windscreen that I've made, and this is a mould. Obviously just made a filler. I wrapped these in tape, squidged it onto some filler, and because this isn't flat, I couldn't really clamp that, but I should be able to just put that on there and clamp it down, and it should follow that line. That's the theory anyway. I'm still pondering these blocks on how to do it, so I'll look at those, and then when I've got the blocks on, I can look at veneering. And I've not done any veneering since I was at school, which is a few years ago, and I've been agonising on what sort of glue to use, whether to use a pearl glue, a hide glue, or whether to use a PVA. I'm going to go for this PVA. This is a brown coloured PVA. So if I do get a glue line, it will be disguised a little. But I've used PVA a billion times, and I've really got very little experience of hide glue, so I'll stick with what I know. And stronger than the wood, so that should be good enough. Right, a bit more work. Change of plan. I was going to screw these blocks on from the inside of the car. I've changed my mind. Couldn't stop the block splitting, so I've screwed them on from this side. I've cut out that little rebate, and I put a chamfer on these edges, and I've cheated slightly and just put a very slight round on this corner here, just to give me a little bit of a chance of pulling it around there. And I've clamped it to a piece of scrap board. I've wrapped the end of it in this this brown parcel tape and squidged it into some filler. And I've done that both ends, and that'll be a sort of mould for when I come to glue the veneer on. So, onward. Right, let's see if that comes out. Bit stuck at the moment. I think that will be alright. That little bubble in the tape there, which has just shown up here. I think I'll get away with that. Right, this is what I'm going for. I'm going for that section there. I like that nice dark feature in it. And I can keep it close to the edge, still get it all in, and I avoid this, there's a split in it there, I avoid that. So, new blade and the knife. Quite scary this. See if I can trim that. Right, here goes, and I have been told or learned that you put it onto the base material and not the veneer. Quite sticky, this glue, quite thick. And I guess that strictly speaking, this shouldn't fit in there. check that we're on everywhere, and I think we are. Right, 12 hours later, let's see what's happened. And I think that's pretty good. Doesn't seem to be any loose edges. I'll get that cleaned up. So far so good. I trimmed it back to the edge with a Stanley knife and then just sanded the edges flush, and that worked alright. And I've just slightly knocked that bottom corner off. It folded around the corners well, and I probably could have got it right around the corner, which I might try that on the next one. Of course that still leaves the plywood edge, which I can disguise that. But I've sanded that down with some 320. I'm trying to get a match. This is the glove box, and that's quite reddish. Get the light off there. There's obviously quite a difference at the moment, and I've got one die that I've already got, which is a Peruvian mahogany, and this is a sample of it neat, and that looks pretty close. This end it's watered down with some white spirits, and this is the natural wood, natural veneer. So that's looking quite good at the moment, so I'll let that dry and try a bit of oil on it and see what that looks like. This is the second one. See how I get on with this. So I've built this up. I've taped the end of the board and I've filled it right up to the top. So that's going to be my mould. And I put some witness marks here to help me line it up and drawn around it. And that's my mould for the second one. And that's pretty tidy. I think that's alright. Number 2 clamped up, and I put more glue on this one. It's nice to get a squidge of glue at the sides, which I didn't get with the last one. I was worried that The glue might seep through the veneer if it's too thick, but it didn't seem to, so I've gone a bit more liberal. Let's see what that looks like tomorrow. Playing around with the stains and the oils to try and get a decent match. This is full stain with a bit of Danish oil on that end, and that's quite a good colour match, but it seems to cover the grain too much, lose the features. This one here is tinted Danish oil. I've tinted that with the dye, and that's just oil. And although the oil isn't really red enough, or brown enough, I like the way it shows the grain through. So I think I'm going to go for Danish oil, and I can always tint it further coats with some stain if I don't think it's good enough. But it'll never be the same whatever I do. And I've done the other one, and that seems to work. I just had a little repair there which broke away. That wrapped around the edges, but I'll show you that later when it's all sanded up and done. Let's try these bits now. These are the bits obviously that go around the windows, around the headliner, and I put a coat of Danish oil on these chamfers to try and stop the glue sinking in there. I'll just sand this face flat, so I've got a bit of oil on in places, and I can actually get those out in one piece, which I wasn't too fussed about. I don't think little joins in those are going to make any difference, but one piece would be cool. Right, let's see how this goes. That's got all the edges. Okay. kind of move that along a bit, and I'll be able to get a clamp on from that end. Where else do you reckon? Ends, I reckon, are quite important. Okay, a few hours, see what happens. So, well, that part seems to have gone without incident. So a few hours and we'll see what it looks like. 24 hours later. That seems to have a good stick everywhere. And this will carve off with a Stanley knife until I get close. And then I can sand it back. This is 180, which is maybe a little bit fierce, but the glue sands off nice. It's sometimes PVA is a bit gummy, but this sands off alright. That's gone very well, pleased with that. A bit more difficult on the inside edge. That can't be impossible. I just finished that with some 320. And I think that's as good as anything you can buy almost. Maybe better, because some of the new stuff I've seen is completely wrapped. I suppose it's much easier just to throw the whole thing in a vacuum bag and cover the whole thing. You don't have to faff around sanding it back. But I think that'll look lovely when it's finished. And I'm saving this is the dust, because I'm going to use that as a grain filler, just to get it extra smooth. These are all coming on nicely. And it's quite easy to do. You shouldn't be put off by having a go at this. Got these two blocks here, which are different lengths, which I'm presuming they came off my car. Anyway, that's still to come. These bits that I made, these are the windscreen pillars. I've just got to take a bit more off this chamfer here. Just eyeballing that, and that looks to be about there or slightly less, so I'll leave it at that. Then kind of just need to sand it back a bit more. And I've made a mould. So this one here that I've not shortened yet, I've wrapped that in tape, squidged it onto some filler, and this will be my mould, because this isn't flat here, so that'll be my mould to hold the filler down. These are the bits I'm going to use for the windscreen pillars, and I've not book matched it. I've cut this from the same piece of veneer, but they look like they're book matched almost, and when they're 4 feet apart I'm sure they'll look the same. I'm going to put a cross on the back here, so that reminds me that this is the back. And I want to use this more than that, so I'll try and keep the pattern down this end. And this glue doesn't seem to matter too much that you get it in the wrong place, because it does sand off without being overly gummy. And I can put quite a lot of glue on this. It doesn't seem to do any harm. And the ends are vulnerable, so just give them an extra dose. And try and get it in the mould lined up. Right, let's try that. I've gone for a 6-to-1 mix of 1 part stain to 6 parts white spirit. So try it on a small bit first. Still gives a very dark colour though. I might have to sand the sides a bit. Which I think I'll do first. Just try another bit. The colour's not as red, but it'll never be exactly the same. Go for a big bit. Oh no, it's pretty good on a big piece, that's alright, isn't it? That's just had a couple of minutes on. Already it's drying quite a bit lighter. So I'll let that dry off and I might have to strengthen it up a bit. So in the end I went for a 6-to-1 mix of stain and white spirit, and it will be lighter than the dashboard, but I didn't want it as dark, so that's sort of a compromise. And I put a couple of coats of Danish oil on, and I've rubbed that dust into, well, I've tried to rub it into the pores, but only on this top door trim and the windscreen pillars. And I've had to sand those, and I've sanded those with 500, and the rest I've rubbed down with a grey Scotch pad. So put some more stuff on, put it on thick, leave it for a few minutes, wipe it off.